Hello, thanks for clicking on the link. Dave here. It's really a follow-up video this to the last video that I did, which I put out quite hastily. It was about mud floods in Stockton, which may sound a bit batshit crazy, because I never really explained what a mud event was and how I think it relates to Stockton and the evidence that Stockton has. I mean, I first got interested in this a couple of months ago when I was in Scarborough, and I found a lot of evidence for it in Scarborough, and I went looking out around Stockton town and found a fair bit of evidence there. A mud event, right, basically this is a worldwide event. It's happened in every country in the world, who knows, 200, 250 years ago, whereby the streets, for whatever reason, have become inundated with mud to a depth of, in some streets, maybe 10, 15 foot. And in some big cities, you're talking, many, many dozens of feet deep. Now, this is a thing that, as I say, it's not just in Stockton or Scarborough. You can find evidence of it once I start and point it out to you in most towns and cities across the UK, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales. There's a chap up in Scotland, I'll leave his name in the description box, Mick Rebelwithoutapause. He's done some excellent work up in one of the big cities in Glasgow in Scotland. And if you find this interesting, click onto his page and go and have a look at some of the stuff that he's done, because not only has he managed to get down to the first level that seems to be buried below the street, but, deeper levels. So, I do recommend, if you find this interesting, pop over there. What I'm going to do first, I'm going to show you a few pictures from around the world of how this event is disguised today. I'll show you a little bit of, I'll talk you through anyway as we go along. We'll just get off that picture. What I'm trying to explain. These are the things that you see in most towns and most cities. All buildings, 150, 200-year-old plus, all seem to have these type of features, which are tiny little bits of windows down at street level. They're not, I can assure you, these windows are actually full length like they are. If you could get a JCB and rip out the front here, that would very quickly be proven, as I'll show you in a bit. This is random one America, this one I think it is. Very subtly, you can see the very tops of these windows here. Now, nobody, especially the splendour of some of these buildings, nobody designs a building to have only the top 6 inches of, 4.5, 5 foot window. To have only the top 6 inches sticking out. Doesn't make much sense. This is one from Russia, and this is usually how they're disguised in our towns today. Usually you'll have your tiny little windows. They've also usually first floor level, up to the first floor level. They tart the place up a bit, usually with cladding or a type of plaster or render that they just point to make it look like sandstone. See, even your big sort of royal building, like I said, I don't have a clue where this is, but these are not design features. They really aren't people. They're not, buildings aren't designed like that. And if you have a look at the top half of the building, it's not really proportionate to the bottom half. This is part of the mud flood event. And it doesn't matter what country you go to in the world, you do your own research on this. This is how the buildings look before the mud events. As you can quite clearly see, as I pointed out in pictures, the very, very tops of windows that's shown on the street. Now this has been excavated for whatever reason, and as you can clearly see, these little tiny bits of windows go right down, full length, Then you have your door below that. Now there is many towns and cities where there's more than one level, there's 2 and 3 levels. But this is what a mud flood event is. This is more on the small scale type of thing you'd find in Stockton, as I'll show you, where you have tiny little bits of the windows showing at the top. The old doorway, and that's all blocked in, it's under the street now. And the new doorway, what they usually do, they open up a window. That would have been 3 windows there originally. And as all I've done is just extended that down, kicked the wall out a bit and made a door into it. You know, this is a place just been getting dug out the mud. And this one here, I think this one's somewhere in Russia as well. But you can see over the other side of the road here, really, you know, full length windows with only the top half showing. But all this down here, you know, they're just starting to dig this out of the mud for whatever reason. And this is another place that they've dug out the mud. As you can see here, this is what would have been street level once over after the mud event. And is all they do, they block up what's down below, put in a new doorway. Bob's your uncle. You see one of the old doorways down here. But this, I can't stress enough, you know, do your own research. This is right across the world. This is a tiny one. I'll blow it up a bit and then we'll get into this country. I think this is in Russia again. But the actual depth, the bloke there, you know, it's almost 3 times the height of a bloke, however tall he may be. And there's something that's caused this mud. You know, there's a lot of sort of various debates, but I really do go with the liquefaction. There's various places around the world where it's happened in recent years, whereby whole streets and towns are inundated with mud that just seeps up through the ground. Right, Scarborough. This is where I got interested in this thing. I'll try and explain. These are the windows that I'm on about. Originally, the original doorway would have been down here, possibly even a level below that. When the mud events come, they've dug out around the windows and the door. But as all they've done, they've just opened up that window. That will have been a window once over. They open up the window, turn it into a door, and this bit here, the steps, are false in a sense, of a later addition. Now these properties in Scarborough, these are looking straight off the cliff to the North Sea. Now what architect in the right mind would design such a build? You know, to actually buy a plot of land on the top of these cliffs would have cost an arm and a leg to start with. To have the money to build such grand properties and then bury your lower half in mud so nobody can see anything out of your bottom windows. Doesn't make sense. Here's another one along the same street, very tops of the windows visible. Again, you know, windows. That's a window there that's been opened up into a door. This is the false, in a sense, doorway that's been put in at a later date. The original place you would have got in was, if not that level, maybe even a level below that. We don't know. This is exactly the same. You know, if you stood on tiptoes, looked out your window. I mean, that's just crackers. Absolutely crackers. To have any sort of inlet, window, you know, right down on street level. It's another house, exactly the same. You know, these are overlooking the North Sea, so why would you build a house like that? But I'll get away from Scarborough. I'll go into Stockton, but before I go into Stockton, a quick click on Google Earth. As I mentioned in my last video, basically Stockton's quite a flat area, which it is, but looking at it again, all roads out of Stockton basically lead downhill. If you're going down to the river, that's downhill from the high street. If you're going out up Durham Road, it's downhill. You'll hit Lustrum Beck no matter where you go out of town, basically. So it is slightly downhill. until you hit that waterway, then you start going back uphill. Since I took them pictures, which I'll go through a few in Stockton, since I took the pictures, I've just quickly marked on Google Earth. These are the areas that I've managed to discover that are affected by mud in Stockton. Most of them you can still see today. However, the ones you can't see today, I've got pictures of. Now, it stretches as far out of town as Norton Road. You've got your Talbot pub. Anybody remember the pit that was downstairs? You've got the North Eastern. You've got the old police station down Church Road there. You've got Finkel Street. You've got Green Dragon Yard. You've got Dufgate Street. You've got Nelson Terrace. You know, these are all places where you can go and have a look now. You know, it's. I just had a quick look on Google Earth coming out of town last night. I've got pictures of them. There's properties there that have got buried levels. You know, and most of this is visible in Stockton today. The excuses that they give why Stockton's under a layer of mud, I don't know. I've not really looked into it. But this worldwide mud event that I mentioned, as it says, it's worldwide. There's very few towns or cities that have escaped it, and that's across the world. So what I'll do now, I'll go back onto the pictures. This is the building that really got me sort of chomping at the bit again. The evidence is very, very slight. But what this chap did, once he'd bought the premises, when he was renovating them, he got down into the lower levels, and I'll leave a link in the description below. Go and watch the story. It's really interesting, and the interesting thing about it is, I mean, he's found below, you know, the floorboards basically a whole new old living space, but more importantly, he's found windows and doors that once opened up onto the street, but now there's 10 foot of street in the way, if you know what I mean. This is what started me off again, and this is how to identify them really. I mean, these are for people in Stockton, around the Stockton area. This is Blue Post Yard, or where Trader Jack's is now, or Traders I think it's called, and they're the windows. I mean, buildings aren't designed like that, and there's an older picture of exactly the same ones. You know, they were bricked up at that time. I'm just going to spin you around a few places in Stockton. This is just near the picture you've just seen. This is the fire service. But wherever hatch they've got open there, it leads down underground. It's part of a window, I would say. This is an old picture of Stockton. And you can clearly see here, down in the bottom, the windows with just a tiny little bit above street level. It'll become, you know, this is I can't actually pinpoint exactly where on the high street this is, but the giveaway signs are usually the iron railings, but as you can clearly see there, houses aren't built like that, whereby you have 6 inches of window at the top. For some reason this has been totally airbrushed out of our history. You know, you can't find any record of this type of event happening. It just seems to have happened. There's lots of people who are doing videos on this subject at the moment, but this is people in Stockton. This is Church Road, and you can quite clearly see here the tops of windows. This is a more modern image, but you can clearly see the iron railings outside and the very tops of windows, and that stretches right the way down the street, and most of that's still there. the chap that's excavated his building, I think it's this building here, or a little bit further up. This is the old police station. Now, there was talk when the new police station was built about 100 yards from this place. I remember my dad telling me about the underground tunnels that used to link the old police station to the new police station. Now, I firmly believe 100% if you could take a JCB to the front of these buildings here, you would actually find that these are tops of windows. And it matches in perfectly to the underground level that links up to where the police station is now. You've also got your, your pyramids up the top there. But without a doubt, it might be 2 levels, but there's at least 1 level below the street here. And you can walk past there and look at that as it is today. These air vents, are a giveaway sign. Couldn't find no actual footage for Bridge Road. This is the bottom of Bridge Road looking up towards the High Street. And as you can see, this area here, you've got your buried levels. Now, we're expected to believe that there's a worldwide conscious effort gone around the world to make sure that we bury all our towns and cities in several feet of mud. This is only a small picture. It's where it's the old castle brewery. It's on the site where the supposed castle is. But as you can see, right away along here, all the windows are bricked up. And they're very close to the pavement. You don't build houses like that. People my age will remember this place, the Talbot. But what was more important about the Talbot, if you're my age, my type of era of music, was the Pit, which was a beautiful bar, trippy as hell bar, down below in the basement. So we know that building's got a basement because I used to drink in there, and so did a lot of other people of Stockton my age. This picture, I don't know where this actually is, but it's the old Stockton Hospital. But again, you can see your iron railings, your telltale sign to keep people away from the window itself, and you have the top halves of windows. It's in quite a bit dilapidated, that. Right, this is Dufcott Street, people. Live in Stockton. Your iron railings there, your windows. This will be a false doorway that was put in at a later date, and you have your pyramid. But your actual original doorway to get in will be Low Street somewhere here, I would bet. Prince Regent Street, there's nothing strange looking about that building. But these are all once windows. Right way along the bottom. And we go and view them today. These were not, it isn't a design feature. These were once windows that have since been bricked up. One of the little streets that lead from the Green Dragon Yard straight out on the High Street for people in Stockton. Very subtle, but it's right the way along. These are all the very tops of windows. So right across the board in Stockton, Fingal Street, the same. Right across Stockton, we've got this, buried levels. This is heading out of the town, Norton Road. These don't look very prominent, they don't look very deep. As to whether there's another level, I really don't know. But I'll show you these properties over the road from it. I mean, who would build a house like that and have windows facing out onto the mud? You can't see out them windows at all. But I can assure you, they are windows. You can go and have a look today. I only took these pictures last week. Again, you don't design houses like that. This one, you've got your windows, but there's actually a set of steps so you can get down and actually clean them windows. This is outside a shop. on Norton Road itself, and you see where that's actually going through. You see where the window was, and you know, another couple of years of people walking across that and they'll be through. Moving out of the town slightly, Trinity Street area, Trinity Street Church, you can clearly see there and there. Move a little bit further. Oh, this is down Potterfingal Street, which is now where the multi-storey car park is, the spiral ramp to go up the car park. These windows here would have come round level. This whole bottom of this house on the side is buried. That got knocked down. This is up the top of Parliament Street, Lawrence Street area. You can clearly see here houses were designed like that. Again, I think in times past the original doorway would have been down here, and you know, they've dug themselves out of the mud, put a new doorway up onto that level there. This is just on the opposite corner, exactly the same. Just get back into that 2 secs. Around this wharf here, showing you this picture. I showed you it on the last video I done on Stockton, and Stockton possibly being in mud. If you take into account the properties and the areas I've just shown you, and I've marked out on Google Maps, on Google Earth, sorry, these are the tunnel systems that are known about, on top of the buried levels I'm talking about. So, you know, it's a little bit of food for thought there. I'd really love to know the town's official's explanation for all this. You know, the town suddenly decide, I don't know, end of the 1700s, right, we're going to bury everything in 10 foot of mud, because that's what appears to have happened. But it happened at the same time it's happened around the world. You know, not just in Stockton or Scarborough. But what I'll do, I'll just say thanks very much for watching, and I'll put a little video on at the end of this. It's only 6 minutes long, but it's about the evidence I found in Scarborough that defies explanation, really, of doors being below streets. And not only doors being below streets, but how ruins veer off below roads as well. So I'll say thanks very much again for watching. There's a few people that are doing some good work at the moment, and what I'll do in the descriptions box below, I'll leave the links to their sites, because it is a thing that we need an explanation for, really. You know, I'm just one bloke in one town that's picked, you know, I mean, Stockton's a piddling little market town. When you get into your larger towns and your larger cities, you know, the evidence is far greater than what it is in this place. But anyway, thanks very much again for watching, and I hope you enjoy the video. Bye. Corner, it's one of those things, the little ones that are out of sight, out of mind. I mean, that is quite deep. And it's almost like I made a little video on the old Curiosity Shell. You know, them bare windows, it's difficult to see. There's nothing actually that goes underneath the road there, but the other thing I've just noticed as well, it's all the same property. And just look at it. It's also overgrown down there. Nobody's bothered with the place by the looks. There's something else that caught me eye. Where's it gone? I mean, the stonework on this is just dropping to bits, but you can actually look through that gap down there. You can actually see the door. You know, that door once opened up out onto the street. There's no two ways about it. And if it didn't, where's it open up onto then? Because there's nowhere to go down there. It's weird, this one. It's one of those little gems of a property that hasn't been touched for a while. Let's walk down there. There's bricks all the way along around here, but it's quite deep. There's no obvious doorway going under the street on that one, but what I found most fascinating, round the front there, doesn't look to be that far underneath street level, but we're actually going slightly uphill here, and this street is mind-blowing, because the first property you come to, not only downstairs, but as you can clearly see in the corner there, that's a room going underneath the street. We move around a little. We have the door leading into the building, and this must be a good 16 foot, 18 foot, you can see that. All these properties are shut up, so I can't really go down, but we have exactly the same there, and there is a door underneath. I just mentioned about these buildings going down to sea level. I seem to have that on the brain. Here's another building. Going downstairs. I won't go down too far, but as you can see, there is areas that go right under the road. The backs of these properties look almost pre-war. It's like something off a film set. I won't go right down this one, but as you can see, all these properties around the back of the same goes down, off to the right into the building, and off to the left underneath the street. And we're coming to the end of the street, but what I'll do, I'll just pan round can show you properties on the other side of the street, all below street level. Now we'll carry on back walking round this block. As you can see, this is the side of the hotel I'm stopping at. Boarded up windows, down the street level. And get another property, very dark and very dingy down there. I can actually see the door bricked up going in the building on the right, and I ain't going down no further in that one to see what else is down there. But you get the general idea. It's quite mind-blowing, really. And this is the final one. It's a lovely little colour property. It's a private residence, and this building is the back of the red building I started off at. So what we'll do, we'll have a wander around.